Welcome to the Mojo for Musicians podcast from Manny Cabo Media, where we dig deep into today's top strategies to help you take your music career to the next level, along with real, raw, and uplifting conversations with industry professionals that are making moves, making a difference, and making the best versions of themselves to inspire you to do the same. And if you have a voice with a powerful message to share with the world, then head on over to tinyurl/Mojo Official Discord for the best community of voices in the metaverse. Support for the Mojo for Musicians podcast comes from Stedman, tools for the studio and beyond, because your voice deserves to be heard. Sennheiser, inspired by music. And Cranium, scientifically designed products for bald, shaved, and buzzed heads. So get your head in the game and own your dome. And now, here's your host, Manny Cabo. What's going on, Mojo Maniacs? Welcome to another epic episode of Mojo for Musicians, the source of inspiration for my musicians. And as always, I'd like to take some time out to recognize my incredible sponsors at Stedman. Notice I'm wearing the shirt here appropriately. Sennheiser, and of course, my boys at Cranium who take care of my dome. And today I've got a very special guest, or should I say guests, and they're from my home away from home in Nashville. And I'm very fortunate to have performed with one of the individuals in this band, John Wysocki, which you'll meet shortly. You know, originally from the bands like Stained and Soiled. I think Save the World was the other band he was on. And we performed together on Today in Nashville. And I got to tell you, I love these guys. You guys know me. I'm a very positive individual. Always the glass half full. And their positivity, it just mirrors the way I think about things. And these guys share that same sentiment fully throughout their music and the way they are and they acted. And this has been a long time coming. And they focused on, I guess, elevating the vibration of this planet through their music, right, if you will. So on a deeper connection with their fans, which is always very, very important because that's essentially our sustenance, you know. And one thing which we're definitely going to talk about in today's episode is they've convoluted their music and their personal tragedies as an armor, you know, to confront our battles in life, you know, to forge ahead, as they say, and to quote, to build your own castles. So I'm going to welcome to the stage Tanya Leanne, Cody, Corey, John, and together they make up the band Lydias Castle. What's going on, guys? And welcome to Mojo for Musicians.
Hey, what's up, Manny?
Did I get your names right? So good to have you guys. This has been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. I mean, we've been going back probably, I would say, Tanya, when we first had the initial interview, it was like, what, 5 months or so?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, but, you know, I'm happy we were able to get things lined up, get our schedules lined up.
Yeah.
And we're happy to be on your show.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you here, especially, you know, I like to call them local peeps because I think of myself as a Nashvilleian. Is that the way you say it? I can't even remember back in the day.
Yeah.
Nashvilleian, right? And as I alluded to before, Johnny and I, we've had our cool encounters on stage. So it's always a great time to bring back people that I've encountered along my musical journeys. So it's obviously great to see you guys playing again, being on the road after such a dormant state. I feel your pains on that. And your energy. I love the music. And I got to tell you, Tanya, in listening to your voice, I put this together like a picture. If I were to close my eyes and just listen to you, you have this combination of Janis Joplin meets like Haley Reinhart and even Dora Passion there somewhere along the way. You know, that's a kick-ass combination for me, right?
Blush, man.
Right? Is that pretty spot on or what?
That's a huge compliment.
Some big words, yeah. Big names.
My face is going to be as red as my hair.
No, listen, I'm just calling it as I see it. You know, I do appreciate we need more women in rock. We need more front women up there rocking it out. It's one of those things where when I see a solid band and I see a woman up there just crushing it, I don't see genders. That's the problem with the world nowadays. I just hear music. I don't care who's singing. I don't care what band's up there as long as I'm engaged, as long as I'm feeling the vibe, feeling the stories. Those are really, really crucial elements for me to stay engrossed. Now, you guys, your latest EP, I've been listening to your tracks. Love them. I think it was Fading Away, correct? That's the one on there. I love the riffs in that, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
Thanks,
I'm going to
guys.
let you guys talk a little bit more, So, how did you guys? This is one of the questions. It's a great segue. So, how do you guys ideate your songs? How long have you guys been together? And what type of relationship do you guys have with your creativity? And is it the same on the road, on stage, privacy? Now that are you guys faking it? Being all nice to one another when you're talking to me, or what?
Oh yeah, we can't stand each other at all.
Yeah, that's usually the case, right?
Can't
No,
stand it.
that's actually one cool thing is we do get along real well.
Yeah.
And we love to create music. Excuse me, Manny.
Yeah.
And people. And my band. We do.
You're not being facetious in there at all, not even a little bit. No, of course not. Of course not.
We have a good collaboration
Right.
when we do start to write, and so like all of that's intact. And it's a pleasure for me to get together with these guys and just start coming up with new music. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
we're all on the same page, it seems, too. That's another big thing is, musically speaking, we all want it to sound the best it can possibly.
See, and I love that. It's all about collectivity, right? Because it's all, and I saw that and it really is. It's unfortunate. I saw that all over the place while I was in Nashville, and there's so many egos. I mean, the entertainment industry as a whole is just saturated with ego, and you guys are like, I know, yeah, it is, because that's just the reality of it all. So it's really healthy, and people don't understand how crucial it is to put your ego aside. I just had an interview earlier before, and we talked about collaborations, right? And how huge it is to have the element of compassion, respecting each other's, creative differences or defensive postures or whatever, because so many amazing opportunities never came to be because of egos. So it's really refreshing to hear that. And I could see you guys, playing with each other and playing off of each other. So that's definitely good to hear. Plus, I think she'd put you guys in your place anyway. I'm just saying, probably. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So now, talk to me about your latest EP, right? That you released that, a few months back.
Correct.
How did people receive it? I know I dig it. So how did it feel performing your I guess your fresh effort, if you will, being on stage and finally going, okay, we created this. It's been a long time coming. Now we get to show it to the world. How'd that feel? Because it's that visceral feeling that I truly enjoy, and especially for being so dormant for a while.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was such a relief to be able to perform this EP in its entirety the way it is now. I mean, we've been performing these songs for the last year and a half,
Right.
but they weren't in the same. They were pretty much in the same shape as they are in now, but they're more mature.
Of course.
As you play songs and you play them out live, especially you find out what works and what doesn't work, and especially when you get in the studio, things always change right at the last minute. Oh, this riff doesn't work. Let's try to
Right.
let's try to beep it up a little bit, or try to get it to click with the drums a little bit more, and things like that. So
Dude, as a vocalist, I mean, I go in the studio, I'll record a take, whatever, finish it. I'll let it marinate for a week. A week later, I'm like, I can't stand the way I sang that. I got to go back in there and change it again. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Ty, come on, Ty. You feel me on that one, right? But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a good thing. That's a good thing because you don't want to rush any type of project, especially a musical project where this is going to be your first initial effort to represent the band. So I couldn't agree with you more.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, on that note, I mean, for me personally, I like to go in with the songs like as ready to go as they possibly can. But like for me, in my personal taste, I like to write my solos in the studio.
Yeah.
I tend to write best when I'm in the hot seat, when I have to come up with something, and my
Wow.
brain's firing on all cylinders. So
And I'm
I'll have some ideas, but it won't come to fruition until I'm actually in there and we hear it against everything else in the mix.
That's crazy. That's like night and day for me, man. I'm the total opposite. Like I'm in my vocal booth and I'm really grateful for it, but I feel like it's contrived. Like sometimes I can't breathe. If I have a melody of some sort, I have to sing it over and over and feel the song because, and I think Tanya, you'll attest to this because for me, it's about believability. One thing I learned when I was on The Voice and La Voz, the same type of message was always instilled in me. Don't let the song sing you. You need to sing that song. You need to make it believable. People need to understand the lyrics. Do they feel the lyrics? And that's what it takes. So I find it interesting, and it's so cool that every musician is different, right? Some people love sparking on the fly. I mean, back in the 80s, I grew up, I can honestly say, and I think, John, you're going to be like, yep. I feel that I grew up in an era of real rock stars, because back in the day, if you didn't have any chops, I don't care if you're a bass player, guitar, singer, drummer, if you weren't on your game, if you couldn't perform on the fly, word got around pretty damn quick. So, the quality of musicianship, for me, at least, and I don't want to make this a blanket statement, it seems like it's gone. Even like the new era of musicians out there, right? Let's call it pop rock for the sake of argument. All their musicians are like 60, 70 years old, because nobody can come up with the riffs that we used to back in the day. But
Right.
it's really interesting to hear different points of view. And that's why I love interviewing different bands, because we all have different perspectives. And at the end of the day, it's whatever works, right?
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
that's correct.
And Manny, that's kind of like the one thing that I really like the most about Lydia's Castle
Yeah.
is that we can play with tracks, but we
Yeah.
can play without tracks.
Love it.
And when you get into a band where the chemistry is just this aligned, and not just like the chemistry within writing, like that room,
Yeah.
within the studio, but like chemistry even like outside, of the studio, like actual friendships,
Yeah.
but once you have that chemistry and you have the musicianship like we have, it makes everything really easy. In fact, it makes it even fun.
Sure.
You know,
That makes
um,
perfect sense. Yeah.
there's a lot of stress that goes into being in a band and escalating it, and getting it off the ground running. And when writing music and having fun is just like one less thing you have to worry about, it just makes it so much more enjoyable.
I agree with you. Agree with you 100%. So, let's segue into the next question. Now, talk to me. This is something that stayed dormant for a little while. Now, in talking to you guys again, it kind of rekindled that spark to ask this question, because I remember you mentioning to me in passing that this project itself stemmed from, personal hardships and tragedies. And I know, speaking from experience, this year has been brutal for me. Tragedy, losing my dad to COVID, and we just lost our father-in-law. Then Hurricane Ida washed away like 25 years of my whole livelihood. So believe me, I had a lot of loss and grief and tragedy. And sometimes those emotions can leave us feeling defeated or deflated, in the worst possible way. But it can also be the necessary fuel to help us pivot. Can you elaborate on how you guys embarked on this project based on those tragedies?
Yeah, so Lydia's Castle, and actually, before I even go any further, I
Mm.
just want to say that I'm really sorry for the
Oh,
loss
thank
of
you. No, I know it's a rough one, but life goes on, and my dad would
but
not want me to sit here and bitch and complain about it. So I'm moving on.
sure, absolutely. We sympathize. Cody and I are married, and we went through an unfortunate circumstance where we lost our daughter about a week before our due date. And we were in this, like, the eye of the hurricane where, this storm had just passed, and
Yeah.
and we had to make a decision. Were we going to stay in this storm, or were we going to move out of it and do something about it? And so we decided to rebuild our lives and our future. And within rebuilding ourselves, we ended up building Lydia's Castle and truly leaning on music as just that anchor, to get us to where we need to be. And so through the music and through the lyrics, it really does hopefully inspire other people that you can go through these really awful times and there is a light at the end of that tunnel.
Yeah.
But you've got to make that choice, and it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing about you guys, it's not just one, now there's four of you to lean on each other just in case. Sometimes it's a lonely world for me, especially. I don't really have best friends. I got rid of all the toxicity in my life. And unfortunately, that was like 90% of the people that I know. But those are the things that are necessary in life. We owe it to ourselves to be happy, to embark on projects that really fulfill us. And when you have a project with multiple players in the band and you guys understand, the whole premise, the concept of the band, and you have the good vibes. Sure, I mean, I get it. We're all going to have certain disagreements from time to time. It's normal. We're human. But if we respect each other's varying opinions, as I alluded to earlier, and understand and ultimately make a decision for the benefit of the song, right, and its outcome, then I think you're going to be all right. And evidenced by, your first effort, songs kicked ass. You guys are here and not killing each other, at least not behind the scenes. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. So my next question has to do with the name of the band. Obviously, you named Lydia's Castle after your daughter. Now, in all honesty, and of course, I'm speaking from my personal experiences and just losing my dad. I've co-written some songs with some dear songwriter friends of mine on the passing of my dad to edify him. And sometimes it's really, really difficult for me. I literally can't get through a specific line. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I could sing these songs live on stage. And as I said before, I'm a really positive person, but sometimes I do get a little negative because it still hurts. And sometimes I feel like I actually could have done more. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, I don't think that it necessarily brings up anything negative. I'll speak on my behalf solely, but any chance that I get to actually be able to talk about my daughter is awesome, because she's not here, and a lot of people don't know what she looks like. Only a select few people actually got to see her.
Yeah.
So when we get to talk about her, like, yeah, I love talking about her.
Yeah.
I love all of that. Of course, it is, it's a sensitive area
Big
of our
time.
lives, but I would rather talk about her than forget about her. You know what I mean?
The more you talk about it too, the more you never know who else is going through that, who might feel alone.
Exactly.
And so the more we can talk about it and not make it a taboo topic, the more we educate the world, the more we can help people,
Yeah. And I commend you guys on that. And that's why I ask, it's kind of a selfish question. It's essentially for me, because let me tell you, I can't stop talking about my dad. I've never been really apart from my dad. Everything I do, he's the reason why I became anything creative. He's the reason why I hold a microphone, why I started the drums, why I picked up a camera, and I've made my careers out of his guidance. So for me, it's a tough loss, man, and I completely empathize. But you're right. The more I mention him, the more I grace and I edify him through these episodes. It's kind of therapeutic for me. So believe me, I share in that. I want to call it pain. I'll just call it what it is, because there is a pain, but at the same time, it keeps me in a state of gratitude, because it reminds me how much I truly love my dad. And that's what I think about.
It reminds you that it was real.
Yeah, man, exactly. It's the reality behind it. But I don't want to dwell on that too much. I appreciate your transparency and letting me know. So let's move on to I wanted to talk about Phoenix. I love the behind the scenes, as I said before, the anecdotal stories, the influences behind the creation of the album. That's the juicy stuff, and I'm the sucker for documentaries, like, oh, no way, that's where the song came from, and stuff like that. Yeah. So how did these songs take shape? Your music is your extension, so because in listening to your music, it seems and it sounds very animated. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. Look at Led Zeppelin. They used to write about the Lord of the Rings, very animated content. So is that very similar to your creative process?
So when Phoenix was written, Cody and I were sitting on the couch and I wanted to write about something. I'm a real big history nut. I love like the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot.
I kind of get that.
All that stuff, aliens, and so
you guys believe in aliens?
Yeah.
I don't not believe in aliens.
100%.
I have to ask, because you get like a 50-50. I honestly do. And we'll go back to this. I do, man. Listen, I think it's a kind of an egotistical thing to say we're the only people that exist in this universe. It's impossible. There's no way. There's no way.
Here's some of exoplanets out there, of course.
Here's some food for thought, though. Yeah. What if we are the aliens?
There you go. That's hey. That's a fair system, right?
You're just time traveling humans.
Although I don't know if I'd be cool with like a green light bulb head, but you know what? I get it. I really, really do. But go back to your story. Go, seriously.
Yeah, no. So I knew I wanted to write about a phoenix, but I actually did a lot of research on the phoenix before writing the lyrics. And I printed out all of these website pages on the phoenix, and I just started highlighting key point words that really stood out to me, and then I tried to use those words within the song. And that's kind of, so the song is just about like obviously a phoenix, like rising above hard times, but I kind of wrote it in the aspect of somebody being bullied,
Interesting.
like it's the way you laugh in my face so perfectly together until daylight breaks. And so the song is about somebody just being like essentially like picked on and rising above that like a phoenix, coming out on top. And as far as the guitar riff, man, I found that guitar riff in Cody's phone in one of his voice memos, and I was like, why have I never heard this
That's
before?
too funny. Listen, that happens to me all the time. I'm like, my buddies will be playing, like, whoa, play that again. What was that? That was amazing. What was that? And they're like, I don't know what I was doing, dude. I was just dabbling.
It was like 2016 in his phone. I'm like, we've been together for like 10 years. How did I never hear this?
Why am I not notified about these things?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where like it comes out of you, but you instantly think it's trash because you're not Eddie Van Halen.
Right,
You're not Dimebag Daryl. So it's like
I'm rocking the Eddie.
yeah, he's got the Eddie. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I know I'm not as good as those guys, so I know that whatever is probably coming out of my brain or my hands is probably trash.
Doesn't that suck though? I gotta cut you off. Like, doesn't that suck? Like we are our worst enemies, if you know it. God knows, like we all have $1 million songs, ideas, lyrics, riffs, and we never, expose them to the world because we honestly think that they're crap.
Yeah.
Right?
We're our worst critics.
We should just shut up, put it out there. And I've been saying this, frequently over the past couple of years. Our job is to just keep creating. It's not our job to worry about whether they like it or whether they hate it. Who cares? We just keep creating. You guys decide, you guys fight whether you like it or not. I'm just going to keep creating. Right.
I've kind of gotten to that point in my life too, where it's like, it's whatever we put out there in the universe, you're going to find people that are going to like it, and you're going to find people that are going to hate it regardless of what it is.
Absolutely. And guess what? It's impossible. That's egotistical in itself to think that we're going to please everybody. There's no way that's never going to happen. And that's okay. You got to have the haters, man. If
people argue about who's better, the Stones or the Beatles. Okay, they're both amazing.
They're both amazing. Beatles. But yeah, for me, I'm just saying.
I got you there, man.
But it's a very valid argument, man. So I had to ask. And it's very interesting, dude. Again, you guys have been amazing. This is my last question of the show. I told you this would be quick and painless. Now, it's obvious that you guys have a passion for music, and I say this after every interview with musicians, but there's always an underlying reason why we continue to do what we do. So that's why I asked the question, what's your mojo? And I know there's 4 of you, but if there's a collective answer, great. If you guys want to jump out, raise your hands, whatever. But what keeps you doing this? Because this industry is brutal. You got to have thick skin. You got to be able to handle the rejections. You got to be able to handle the abuse, the bullying. From a personal standpoint, because and I appreciate you writing songs like that. We need more awareness because I myself was bullied like crazy. Look, till this day, you're 52 years old, you're painting your hands, whatever. Don't get a real job. You got a wife, you got a kid. So I get it. Talk to me about that. What keeps you guys going on a daily basis? What's the impetus and the drive behind your pursuing your dreams as musicians still?
Passion and dedication, man.
Certainly not money. That's for sure.
I mean, money comes later, but the hard work comes first, 100%.
Yeah.
Just make the right choices when navigating your musical career and whatever ambition you're trying to put out there with your art, and you'll meet the right people and be in the right circumstance where you absolutely want to. We get together 2-3 times a week, rehearsing the same set list, writing new material. Even if we can only get together for 2 or 3 hours, we put in the work. And the thing is, it's hard to put in the work if you don't have the passion. And you've got to not only be happy with the art you're personally creating with the people, but be happy with what they're bringing to the table. Everyone's in it together. We're all creating things together, and we're all about the same mission. We have something to say. We want to find the right way to say it.
Absolutely.
I think like mine, for me as a vocalist, like for me, it's if you are just like blessed and born with like the talent to write and to sing, and you have an opportunity to execute it, my mission is like, if I can write words that can help just one person get through a difficult situation in life, it doesn't matter if you have a record deal. It doesn't matter if you win the lottery. I feel like that is the lottery. Like you're helping another person get through a difficult time with
Mhm.
your talent,
You're right.
you know?
You're right.
And so for me, that's my goal as just like a vocalist and,
Yeah.
and writer.
There's
I
always
love
something
that. I love that.
Yeah.
As a creator, as a whole, I think it's amazing, and we need more artists like that to really feel like they have a purpose. Because
Mhm.
sometimes we're scared to share our opinions, and we hide behind our music, not realizing that they're not alone. And I think in writing that type of music, that type of lyrical note or hook or whatever the case may be, we're inspiring other people to be brave enough to say, wait a second, man, that just hit home. I have a lot to say. And you're
Mhm.
right. I missed out on a lot of amazing moments in my life because I was so worried about the end result, looking out, oh, is it a full crowd? Is it not? Oh, I wonder if we're going to meet someone. Are we going to get that deal? Are we going to get that break? Right? Not that you guys ever experienced that. I know you did. You're smarter than I was. But anyway,
I mean, hey, we were
right?
young musicians,
But like I
man.
missed a lot of moments. I didn't relish the moment. I didn't live in the moment because I was so worried about that. Instead of saying, God, I have this gift. I'm just going to cultivate it and just have fun doing what I do. Life is short. If I can inspire one person, then I've done my job. But again, it's that lousy ego that gets in the way. So kudos on you guys. And sometimes it takes years. It's called maturity, of course. The big capital
Yeah.
M word. I admit it. I had bigger egos in some of the stadiums I played. But here I am. I'm doing a podcast. Nothing really going on. I'm not performing, but I love what I do. I love hearing these stories because they nurture me. That's my fuel. This is my castle. Okay, see what I did there?
There you go.
Yeah.
I
So,
love it.
what do you guys want to promote, man? How do we get in touch with Lydia's Castle to find out what's going on in your world, future shows? Go for it.
Sure. So you can find all things Lydia's Castle at lydiascastle.com. We have our shows, merch, behind the scene photos there, our EPK. It's pretty much a not one-stop shop. So any music videos or music that you're looking for, lydiascastle.com. You can also find Lydia's Castle on all streaming platforms as well as all social media platforms as well.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Listen, hopefully I'll be down there soon. Maybe we'll do a photo shoot, maybe hang out, maybe throw a couple back.
What's up?
Dude, come and hang
Go
out.
ahead and
Let's
twist my
go.
arm, buddy.
We really do, man. We really do. I'd love to do. I love Nashville. I love the people out there, and it's definitely one of my favorite places to be. So thank you guys so much for offering your perspectives, for your transparency, for talking about some sensitive topics. I know sometimes that could be difficult, but totally commend and I applaud you guys for your efforts and what you guys are doing. The music kicks ass, evidenced by your relationships because you could tell. You could definitely tell. So I definitely want to thank you guys, and I wish you nothing but abundance and success and some killer shows. And again, we got to do this again when you, maybe at the Grammys. I don't know. Could be. Just
See you
saying,
there.
man. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there.
All right, Manny, we'll see you around. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much, Manny.
The pleasure was all mine, guys.
See you,
Thank
man.
you.
You too.
Nice to see you, man.
Take care, guys. This has been a Mojo for Musicians podcast. If you're a musician, industry professional, or a voice with a powerful message and wanting to share your mojo and stories of success with our listeners, or simply share some feedback on today's episode, we'd love to hear from you. So send us an email at info@mannycabo.com. And don't forget to join the Mojoverse on Discord for the most powerful community of voices in the metaverse at tinyurl/Mojo Official Discord. Thanks for listening.